So it is called general purpose programming language. Okay, and Python uses interpreter. Okay, Python uses interpreter, whereas Java uses compiler. Okay, so what is the difference between a compiler and a interpreter? So what happens is that our machines, our computers don't understand our language, right? Computers don't understand human language. They understand only one language, which is binary language, right? Bunch of zeros and ones. So we need to uh, uh, make understand computers what we write, right? So that they can process the information that we provide and give us a result. So for that purpose, we will use interpreter. Okay. So what interpreter does, it will convert whatever we write into a binary code, right? Into a binary code that computer will process it and it will give us the output. Okay. And this output again will be in a binary format that will be again converted into our language, right? Using the interpreter. Okay. So when we use compiler, first it will convert the code into binary byte data, then that code will be get executed, right? When we use interpreter, at the time of running our code, it will be converted. Okay, not that all the code first converted into binary data, binary language, whatever you say, and run it, right? When we use interpreter, it will run at the time of running, right? First we write uh, some statements and we run it. When we run the program, at that time only it will convert and it will give the output. Okay, so what happens is that when you're using compiler, if there is an error, the code will not run. Okay, you will get a compilation error problem. Okay, you will get a compilation error. But when we are using interpreter, the code will get executed. Okay, when you run, the code will execute, but it will stop when there is an error. Let's say if you write 20 lines of code and you run it and there is an error on the 12th line, what it will do, it will run the code to start executing line from line 1 and it will stop at line 12 because there is an error. Okay, until line 11 it will run, it will execute all the statements. Okay, that is the main difference between interpreter and compiler. Okay. So before we move on, I would like to know how many of you are familiar with programming language. Okay, whether it can be Java, Python, C, C++, any programming language. Meku, do you have any experience or familiar with me, right? So yes, Ravan. If you are familiar, then it will be very easy to understand. Otherwise, don't worry. We will go as simple as possible so that you can understand. Okay. Yes, Ravan says he is familiar with Python, so it is very easy for you to understand. Since we are covering the essentials, the basics of the programming language, right? That's one thing. First, Python is a general purpose programming language and it is a interpreted language, means it uses interpreter. Okay, and of course it is both object oriented and functional programming language. Okay, it is both object oriented and functional programming language, meaning that you can develop an application using OOPS concepts like classes, objects, and or you can also use only functions to develop a program. Okay, మీరు ఓన్లీ ఫంక్షన్స్ యూజ్ చేసే ప్రోగ్రామ్ రాయొచ్చు, అదర్వైజ్ మీరు క్లాసెస్ అండ్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ కూడా యూజ్ చేయొచ్చు. We will cover them as we go on. Okay, so who is the developer? Who is the developer of this programming language? He is called Vidor van Rossum. Okay, he is called Widow and Rasam. Let me show the developer. Widow and Rasam. See, he is the developer, the creator who created Python programming language. Okay, he is the one. So Guido van Rossum is a Dutch programmer. He is the one who developed Python programming language. Okay, so he used C programming language to create Python. Okay, so when was it first released? Python was developed between 85 90, and it was first released in 1991. If I am correct, let us check. Yeah, Python was first released in 1991 February 20. Okay, Python was first released in 1991. So yeah, now we know what is Python. It is an interpreted programming language that we can use to develop computer applications, websites. We can use it in artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc., etc., automation, right? So to do that, first we need to install Python in our computer, right? First we need to install Python in our computer. So what is, so where we can download and install? Let me show you. So this is the website, python.org is the official website where you can download. Okay, and one more thing is that Python is open source. Okay, Python is an open source programming language. Open source means that it is free to use software. Okay, open source means it is free to use software, and it is not owned by any one particular organization. Okay, if you talk about Java, it is owned by Oracle company, right? Java is owned by Oracle company, but Python is not owned by any one particular company. It is open source. Okay, open source means there will be a community of people, developers, who will develop all the features for this programming language for any software that is open source. Okay, so we can use Python without having to pay a single rupee. Okay, if you are good, you can also develop features for the Python, and you can request them to add to the Python itself. Okay, that's the power of open source. Okay, so first we need to install Python in our computer. I have already installed it. If you don't know whether it is installed in your computer or not, what you will do is just open cmd or command prompt, type Python, enter, and if it is installed, here it will show that Python is installed, and here you can start writing Python code. If it is not installed, it will throw an error. Okay, in that case you need to download and install Python. So to install, let's go to downloads here, and here you can see the Python is available for different operating systems. Okay, different platforms like Mac, Windows, Linux, Unix. Okay, so my computer runs Windows. For that, I will need to download Windows, right? Go to Windows. Okay, now here you can see two versions are available. One is the latest version 3.9.6, and the latest version 2 is 2.7.18. Okay, the important thing is that the version 2 is no longer supported by Python. Okay, Python organization is not going to support version 2. So you need to install and learn version 3 only. Okay, version 3 only. And when you install Python, as you can see here, 64-bit and 32-bit are two different things. If you don't know what is your OS, whether it is 64-bit or 32-bit, just go to uh, properties of this PC, or if you have Windows 7, you might see my computer here. Just click on properties, right click and properties. Okay. Here you can see the system type. Okay. The system type is 64-bit operating system, right? x64 based processor. Okay. 64-bit operating system. So my computer runs 64-bit operating system. So I need to download 64-bit, right? If it is a 32-bit, here you would have seen 32-bit and x86. Okay. So based on your computer, you need to install that. Okay. Click on download installer and it will install. Okay. Click on this download installer, 64-bit or 32-bit, and it will download that. Once you download, you will get a package like this. Okay. This is an old package that I have already downloaded to save some time. Okay. Double click on it. You will see a dialog here. Install now. Right. And here, check this. Okay. The add Python 3.7 or whatever the version is to path. Okay. Don't forget to check this and click on install. Okay. As you can see here, it includes IDLE, right? Here it says includes IDLE, idle. Okay. This is a what you call IDE. It is a simplified IDE that we can use. Will get with the Python itself. Okay. If you know what is a IDE, right? Integrated Development Environment. Okay. So once you install, you can start writing Python code. Okay. So where do we write our code? Where do we write our code? You can write on a notepad also. Okay. Here also you can write your code. But what is the problem is that it won't show us if there is an error, right? If there is an error, it won't show us. So to save some time, we will use idle. Okay. Once you install Python, the idle will come with it. You don't need to separately install it. We can use this to write our code. Okay. So first, when you open idle, what it will open is something like this. Where is the yeah, Python shell? So it will open something like this. Here also you can write code. Let's say 5 plus 8, 13, right? 5 plus 5, 10. So here you can write Python code, but what happens is that as you enter, it will execute the line. Okay. When you press enter, it will execute the line, which is not idle when you want to write more than one line. Okay. And of course, you can't save whatever you write here. But in our case, we want to save whatever we write, right? So first, when you open, the Python shell will open the idle. When you open the idle, just click on file and click on new file. Okay. Or control N. It will open something like this. Okay, it will open something like this. Right, here we can write how many lines based on your requirement, and we can run this, and if there is an error we can change and we can run it. We can edit and we can run. Okay, so far are we clear, or do you have any doubts? If you have any doubts, let me know, otherwise please say no doubts. Thank you. Go ahead. So as you know, Python is most preferred programming language nowadays because it is used in many different areas. Like I said, it can be used to develop desktop applications, websites, and most preferably it is used in data science and machine learning, right? So why is that? Because Python is, firstly, it is very easy to learn. Okay, Python is very easy to learn. And the second thing is that Python has a huge library of what we call say frameworks. Okay, frameworks and other modules that will help us to do things very quickly. Okay, with minimum writing of code, we can achieve lots of output. Okay, we can write less and do more with Python compared to other programming languages. Okay, so that is why it is most preferred. So let us start our first program. Obviously, it's like become a custom that will start with hello world, right? So let us continue the custom, and let's write our first hello world program. Okay? So to write hello world, first we need to use the output function. Okay, in Python the output function is print. Print is the function that is a output function. Okay, hello world. So I want to print hello world, right? So I am putting this hello world inside quotes. Okay, inside quotes to make it a string. Okay, to make it a string. We'll talk about strings and how can we define string as we go on. When we talk about data types, we'll cover that. So don't worry about it just now. So this is our first program of hello world. To run it first, we need to save. We need to save the file. Okay. So it says source must be saved, right? So let us save this file. So let me save it in downloads. The downloads. Let's call it batch1. Okay. My Python file name is batch1, and the Python files have an extension of .py. Okay, as you know, every file has an extension. If it is a Java, then the extension is java.java, right? Just like that, Python has the extension of .py. Okay, .py. So since we are using idle, it will automatically add that .py. Here you can see save as type is Python files, right? So it will automatically add that .py. We don't need to add it. Otherwise, if you are using let's say notepad, which is not a special notepad, which doesn't have a special features, there when you save a file you need to add the extension of .py. Okay, since we're working on idle, we don't need to add that. So let's save and see, we got the output of hello world. Okay, let me rerun this again. Run module or F5 is the shortcut. When you run it, we'll get the output in the Python shell, right? So this is our first program. Okay. See, unlike Java or C, if you're familiar with them, we are not using main function and we are not writing a class here, right? You can directly write our hello world function without using them, just using print function, which is a output function, right? So this is very simple when you consider other programming language, right? So let us continue. We'll talk about print function as well as we go on. So let me erase this and let's continue to the variables. Okay, let's continue to the variables. So what is a variable? Why we define it? How we use it? Okay, so we define variables to store some information on a computer's memory. Okay, that is for temporary purpose only. To temporarily store some information on computer's memory, we'll define variables. Okay, variables are everywhere. Variables are everywhere. Okay, so let us define a simple variable. Let's say name. Let's say name. Name is a variable. Name is a variable, and we need to assign a value, right? When we are defining a variable, of course, we want to save some information, right? In this case, I want to save a name here. That's why I'm defining a variable, right? So let's say here I want to define a name, which is, let's say, Python, right? So Python is the information or the value that I want to store in the computer's memory. Okay, so I am assigning this value to this variable, right? I am assigning Python value to this variable called name. Okay, it is that simple. Okay, now we can use this value in our program wherever we want, even after 1,000 lines of code. Okay, even after 1,000 lines of code, we can access this value, because once we define, this value will be stored in the computer's memory. Okay, so how do we access it? Let's see whether we can access it or not by using print function, obviously, right? Print function is the output function that will help us. Now we can't put name in the quotes. Okay, if you put the variable name in the quotes, it will only print this word, right? This word. Let's run this again. See, we got name, not the Python, right? Since it's a variable, we don't need to use quotes here. Okay, we don't need to use quotes here. Single quotes or double quotes. You can directly give that variable name here, right? Let's run this. Now see, we got the Python, right? Got the Python. So we were able to store this value in the name variable, right? Let's say 3.7. Okay, let's say 3.7. Let's save that and run it. See, Python 3.7 was stored in this variable, right? So what happens when we define a variable? This value will be stored in the computer's memory. So Rohit says he can't hear my voice. Does anyone face the same issue? Am I audible? Yes. So Rohit, maybe there is an issue with your internet connection. Please check that. Other students are able to hear me very clearly. There is no issue with that. Please check your internet connection. So when we define a variable and assign this value will be stored in the computer's memory at a particular location, and that location will be named whatever we give here. Okay, here since I said name, that location will have a label of name. Okay, so we are not storing this value in this variable. Okay, it is stored in a computer's memory. That location will be named whatever we give here. Okay, so every location will have a particular ID that we can check with the function of ID. Okay, with the function of ID. So ID is a function that will give us the a particular variable's location. Let's say name is our variable, right? And it has an ID. Okay, that we can check. To see the output of course, we need to use print function. Okay, so this is the that location's ID. Okay, of course we rarely use ID. I'm just giving you a small example here that whatever value we store in computer's memory, that particular location will have a ID and a label will be added whatever we give here. Okay, in this case name is the label. Okay, so this is how we define a variable. And when we define a variable, there are some things that we need to follow, some rules. Let's say a variable name should not start with numbers. Okay, it should always start with the alphabets, otherwise underscores. Okay, a variable name can start with alphabets or underscore. Okay, other than that, whatever you give, it will not work. Okay, so underscore will also work, and alphabets. Okay, and it can, there is no issue whether it is a small letter or capital letter. Okay, small letters or capital letters, it will take. But convention says that we should name our variables in small letters only, not capital letters. Okay, small letters. Okay, and of course, if you want to define a special variable, in that case use underscore. Okay, in that case use underscore. It is not mandatory or it is not a rule, but I'm just telling you that. Okay, always name your variables with meaningful words. Okay, if you are defining a name, use a name. If you are defining first name, call it a first name. Okay, if you are defining a phone number, call it a phone number. Okay, yeah, and after it started, after first letter of character, you can use numbers. Okay, here let's say name 125. Okay, it is valid, it will work without any error. Okay, let's run this. Name 125. See, we still got the output, right? We still got the output without any error, right? So first, it should not start with the numbers, it should always start with the alphabet. Okay, should always start with the alphabet. After that you can use numbers. Okay, in case if you have more than one word as a variable name, in that case you can use underscore but not hyphens or spaces. Okay, let's say you have first name, you want to define first name, you can't use spaces here. Okay, if you use space then it will throw an error. Okay, let's run this. See, invalid syntax because there is a space between these two words. Okay, either you can use space, sorry, underscore, or don't give any space. Okay, not even hyphen, it won't take even hyphen. If you try to use hyphen it will throw an error. Okay, can't assign to operator, right? So you can use underscore. There was no error. Of course there is no output because we are not printing this, right? We are not printing that, that's why we didn't got any error and output as well, right? So either you don't give any space or you can use underscore if you have multiple words for a variable name, right? Words. So these are some conventions that we need to follow when we define variables. Okay, and one of the flexible things is that we can define multiple variables in a single line. Okay, you can define multiple variables in a single line. How can we do that? Let's say x, y, z equal to 5, 10, 15. Okay, and let us check values of x, y, z one by one, right? If we run this, see, we got 5 as an output, right? So what happened? The x has a value of 5, right? So 5 was assigned to x. Similarly, 10 will be assigned to y and 15 will be assigned to z, right? You can see that here by printing them, right? See, x, y, z, which have 5, 10, 15 values. So this way, in a single line, we can define multiple variables, right? And as you can see, when I was assigning a string value, I was using quote here, single quote, but for numbers, I'm not using any quote. Okay, since they are integers, I don't need to use quotes. Okay, of course, we'll talk about the data types as we go on. So these are the some rules that you need to know whenever you want to define variables. Okay, and the next thing that I want to cover is comments. Okay, comments. So let us see some comments here. Yeah. So what is a comment? Comments are useful information that the developers provide to make the reader understand the source code. So what is the meaning of this is that if you are a developer and you develop a program, right? So you write lots of code in thousands of lines. There is a code that you write, and you're not the guy who is going to maintain that code, right? As a developer, you will develop the code and you will give it to client, right? The client will handle the code. He might have some other people who are going to maintain the code, right? So they might not understand what you have written, right? To make them understand, you will use comments, right? In the comments, you will give information briefly to make them understand what is code, what is this code, why you written it like that, why you define some variables in that way, right? So you will explain them using comments, right? As it explains the logic or a part of it used in the code, like I said. Comments are usually helpful to someone maintaining or enhancing your code when you're no longer around to answer question about it, right? Like I said, once you develop the code, you might leave the company, right? You might leave the company. So the person who is going to again work on the code may not understand what you have wrote, right? In that case, comments help them, right? Comments help them understand and do changes or do whatever they want to do, right? So the special thing about comments is that comments do not uh, take the whatever you what you call, when you run the code, the comments will not get executed. Okay, even if you write a code inside a comment, that will be ignored. The code in the comments will not execute. Okay, so you will not see the output from the comments. Okay, and of course it improves the readability of the whole program. Okay, so there are two types of comments. One is single line comment and another one is multi-line comment. Okay, single line and multi-line comment. If you want to write briefly about particular thing, then you will use single line comment. Okay, let's say let's say so for single line comment, of course, we are going to use symbol hash or pound. Okay, so after this symbol, whatever we write will be considered as a comment and it will not get executed. Okay, here I can write whatever I want. Okay, but comments are used to explain something in briefly, right? So let's say prints first name variable, right? So let us run this code. We got only Python 3.7 from our variable, right? So this was neither executed and we did not see any error as well. If you by accident or mistake remove this symbol and if you try to run this, you will see an error. See, invalid syntax. To make it a comment, we need to use hash. Hash symbol makes it a comment. Okay. After this symbol, whatever you write will be considered as a comment. As you can see, the color is also changed to red. Right? It changed to red. Okay. This is single line comment. Again, in the next line, whatever you write will be executed. Okay. Will be executed. So remember that if you want to write a single line comment, we'll use hash symbol. Like I said, if you make the code a comment, it will not execute. Okay, will not execute. Now if we run this, we will see an error. We will see an error. See, name error. Name, first name is not defined. Right? The first name is not defined. Why? Because since it's a comment, this variable was never defined. Right? This variable was never defined, and we were trying to print it. That's why we got this error. Right? We got that error. Okay. So this is single line comment. Single line comment. For single line, we'll use hash symbol. Okay. In case if you want to have your comment in multiple lines, where you are trying to explain something which takes multiple lines, In that case, you want to use multi-line comment, right? Multi-line comment. So for multi-line comment, we'll use three single quotes. Okay, three single quotes. Remember this: three single quotes open and three single quotes close. Okay, three single quotes open, three single quotes close. Between these quotes, whatever you write will be considered as a multi-line comment. Okay, it is basically a comment. Now, if you run this, see, there is no output. There is no output because all of this text is now a comment. So this will not execute. That's why there was no output, right? So single line, for single line comment we use hash symbol or pound symbol. For multiple line comment we use three single quotes open and close. Whatever we write between these quotes will be a multi-line comment. Okay, multi-line comment. Okay, say variable. Okay, are we clear so far? Shall we continue? Yes. Thank you, Samir. So let us continue to next topic, which is operators. Operators. If there is a special, if there is any spelling mistakes, please don't worry about it. Okay. Operator. In operators also, we have multiple types of operators. And the first one we are going to talk about is arithmetic operators. Okay. Arithmetic operators. So in arithmetic operators, what we will see normally, we have already done all these operators. We have already used all these operators in primary school as well. Primary school లోనే మనం ఈ ఆపరేటర్స్ అన్ని చూసేసాం. And yes, for mathematical calculations, we use arithmetic operators. We also use them in daily life as well, right? Plus, minus, division, right? All these operators are arithmetic operators, right? Plus, minus, division, multiplication, right? Given operators ఉన్నాయి. Modulo operator, right? Exponent or power, right? And a special operator which is two forward slashes, which is a integer division or floor division. So let us see them one by one. For that, what I will do is I will define two variables and assign two values and will perform these operations on these values, right? So let's say x equal to, let's say 20, right? Shall we use single line uh, to define multiple variables, right? 10, 20, sorry, 20, 10, right? So x has a value of 20 and y has a value of 10, okay? Don't get confused. And let's perform operations here. Of course, to see the output, we need to use print function. There is no change. So x plus y, right? And let's copy paste it to speed up, right? x plus y, x minus y, x into y, x by y, right? Let's first divide it and let's multiply it. Let's do the exponent and let's do the float. Okay, let's do the float. Let us see the output, then we'll discuss what is happening. So we have output here, and let's see them one by one. So 20 plus 10, 30, right? 30. 20 plus 10, 30. 20 minus 10, 10. 20 by 10, 2. Okay, when you divide, the output will be in decimal values. Okay, you will get the value in float data type. Okay, that's why we have 2.0. Okay, 20 into 10, 200. Of course, exponent, for exponent we need to add 2 stars. Okay, 2 stars. So yeah, exponent is 20 to the power of 10. The value is 20 to the power of 10. That's why we got this big number. Okay, 20 to the power of 10 is this value. That's why we got this big number. Remember that. This is exponent. Okay, exponent operator. 2 stars is used for exponent operator. And the last but not least, integer division or float division. Okay. See, when we divided two values, we got the 2.0, which is a float data, right? Floating data type. When we used integer division or float division, we got only 2 without decimal value, right? Without point values. So remember this, if you want to have a output without decimal values, you need to use two forward slashes, which is integer division or float division. Okay, this is our normal division. This is integer or float. Okay, integer or float division. Okay, integer or float division. When you use this, you will not see the decimal values. Even if you have 2.9, it will be converted to 2 only. Okay, so these are arithmetic operators. And one more thing that we missed is modulo operator, right? Modulo operator. So what is this modulo operator is? It returns the remainder, right? It returns the remainder. So the remainder is 0. Why? Because when you divide 20 with 10, the remainder will be 0, right? When you divide 20 by 10, the remainder is 0. That's why we got 0 as an output. Okay. When you practice check with other values, you will get a different output for the remainder operator. If there is a remainder, that remainder will be given as an output. Okay. So these are the arithmetic operators. Okay. So instead of erasing them, I will just comment them out. Okay. Arithmetic operator. That's done. I think that was very easy. And do you have any doubts on this? On the arithmetic operators? Plus, minus, division, multiplication. For multiplication, we use star. Remainder operator, percentage operator or remainder operator. We call it remainder of, sorry, modulo operator. And for And for exponent we use 2 stars. For exponent we use 2 stars. And for integer or float division we'll use 2 forward slashes. 2 forward slashes. Okay. The next topic is the next operator is assignment operator. We have already seen that, right? Every time we define a variable, we are using assignment operator, right? This equal to operator is assignment operator, and we use it to assign values to variables or to any other thing, right? We use it to assign values. Remember this. And there are other assignment operators as well, and we call them compound assignment operators. Okay, compound assignment operator. So let us check them out. Compound assignment operators. Okay, so what are the compound assignment operators? Plus equal to, minus equal to, okay, into equal to, division equal to, okay, exponent equal to, okay. These are some compound assignment operators. So where do we use it? When you want to increment a value, we use assignment operator. When you want to decrease a value, we use this assignment operator. When you want to multiply a value, then we'll use this assignment operator. So let me show you an example. What I will do is I will just grab these values again, okay, x, y. So let us just use x only. Okay. Say x equal to 10, right? So here I want to increase the value of x by 1. In that case, what I will do normally, what we will do in mathematics, we will do something like x equal to x plus 1, right? This is normally what we do to increment a value, right? So let us print the value of x. So initially the value of x is 10. We have incremented it by 1, and let's run the program. So we were able to increment the value of x by 1, which is 11, right? So this is one way, this compound assignment operator. What we will do, instead of using this way, we will simply say x plus equal to 1. Okay, instead of saying x equal to x plus 1, what we are doing, we are using compound assignment operator, which is plus equal to x plus equal to 1. And let's run this. See, we still got the output at the 11, right? We were able to increment the value of 1 using plus equal to operator, which is a compound assignment operator. Not just 1, you can use whatever number you want here. That number will be added to the initial value. Whatever number you give here will be added to the original value, which is 10, right? So this is plus equal to assignment operator, compound assignment operator. Similarly, you can use minus equal to decrease a value. Let's say you want to decrease value by 5. Okay? For that, what you will do, you will say x minus equal to 5, right? X minus equal to 5. The value was decreased by 5, so the value now is 10. Sorry, 5. Right? From 10 we removed 5, so we got the 5. Right? You can also use multiplication. X multiply equal to, let's say, 2. Right? And let's run this. Obviously, we got 20. What if I say x division equal to, let's say, 5? What is the output of x division equal to 5? Can anyone give me an output? The answer? 2.0, 2, 2, 2.0. Yes, some of you got correct answer, some of you have missed the point, right? So let us see the output, right? The output is 2.0. Why? We have already talked about in the operators. When you use single division operator, you will get decimal values, right? 0.0. If you don't want to have decimal values, then you will use integer division, right? In this case, so that is plus equal to minus 5. Okay, interesting. So let us try that. So what happens is that, let's see the x value is initially 10, and we are doing what Nilesh is asked us. What is the output? 5, right? What is the output? 5, right? Why? This is basically minus value, right? Even if you add minus value to place, it will eventually remove the value, right? It will minus the value, right? సో మీరు ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు డూ ఆల్ దిస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్, మీ మైండ్లోకి వచ్చే ఐడియాస్ అన్నిటిని ట్రై చేయండి. బై దట్ వే ఓన్లీ యూ విల్ బెటర్ అండర్స్టాండ్ దిస్. ఓకే, మీకు గుర్తుంటే ఇంకా మంచిగా అర్థం చేసుకుంటారు, రైట్? సో డూ ఆల్ దిస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్ వెన్ యూ ప్రాక్టీస్. ఓకే, దీంట్లో ఇంకా 2 ఆపరేటర్స్ ఉన్నాయి, అండ్ ఐఎమ్ నాట్ గోయింగ్ టు డూ ఇట్. యూ డూ వెన్ యూ ప్రాక్టీస్. ఓకే, దట్ ఈస్ రిమైండర్ ఈక్వల్, right? Try them when you practice. So these are compound assignment operators, right? Compound assignment operators. Next is comparison operators. These are very easy, right? Comparison operators. Comparison operators. So we use them to compare values, and based on that we'll do the operations, right? So what are the comparison operators? Double equal to, comment them out. Double equal to, not equal to, greater than equal to less than equal to, right? ఇంతే కదా, ఇంకేమన్నా మిస్ అయ్యాను నేను ఆపరేటర్స్ ని? ఎస్, దట్స్ ఇట్. సో double equal to, we use this operator to check whether both the values are same or not. Okay, and when both values are same, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. And this not equal to operator is exact opposite to double equal to operator. If this operators return true, then this operator will return false. If it returns false, in that case this operator returns true. Okay, and we all know the greater than equal to, less than, and less than equal to. So Samir says my voice is not audible. Can anyone has the same issue, or can you hear me? Audible? Thank you. So those who are facing audio issue, that might be because your internet is fluctuating, it might be slow, that's why. Please check your connection as well. Earlier Jafar sir was also facing the same issue, I don't know why that happened. He was saying that I was not audible. So let us start with the comparison operators, right? To compare, we need two values. So let us define two values here. Let's say a equal to 7, okay, b equal to, let's say 9, b equal to 9. Okay, obviously we need print function to see the output. So let's say a equal to b, right? A equal to, okay. The next one is, sorry, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to. Okay, so see, when we use single equal to operator, we are assigning it. Okay, this is assignment operator. When you want to compare two values, we use two equal to operators. Both are not similar, they are different, remember that. One is to assign values and another one is to compare two values. Okay, so let us run them first. So we got bunch of false and trues, so let us check them out. See, a value is 7, b value is 9. A is not equal to b, right? That's why we got false. Okay, a is not equal to b, that's why for the next operator we got true. Like I said, if this operator returns false, this will return true. Okay, because what is the operator saying? A is not equal to b, right? A is not equal to b, inverse is true, right? Here a is not equal to b because a is 7, b is 9, right? That's why we got true. A is greater than b, right? A is greater than b is false, right? That's why we got false. A is less than b, that is true, right? Because a is 7, b is 9. So true. A is greater than or equal to b, that is false, because a is neither great nor equal to b, right? 7 is not greater than or equal to 9, right? A is less than or equal to b, that is true, because a is less than b, right? So these are the comparison operators, right? Double equal to operator to check whether left hand side value and right hand side value are true. Okay, when both values are same, then only this operator returns true, otherwise it false. Okay, not equal to operator, we are checking whether both values are not equal. Okay, When both values are not equal, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. Okay. Here in this case, 7 and 9 were not equal. That's why we got the true. Okay. So these are the comparison operators. If you have any doubts, please ask me. Otherwise, we'll move on to next topic. Comparison operators done. Next is logical operators. Logical operators. In logical, we have two operators, right? What are them? What are those operators? Sorry, three operators. And or not. Okay, and or not. Logical operators. Okay, and or not. Plain English words. Okay, and or not. So let us see how do we use and or not, the logical operators, with example again. Let's say I have a variable called a which has say, 8, another variable let's say has 7.5. Okay, we were not using decimal values. And let's try. Of course, we need a print function to see the output, right? So let's say for this example, what I will do is I will use comparison operators as well. Say a greater than b. Okay, a greater than b, and is an operator, logical operator, and b less than a. Okay, a greater than b and b less than a. Okay, these are two conditions. I am checking both the condition with the help of AND operator. Okay, so let us see the output. The output is true. The output is true. So what happened is we give two conditions here when we are checking these two conditions with the AND operator. Okay, AND operator returns true when both the conditions are true. Okay, when both the conditions are true, then only the AND operator returns true. Otherwise, it will return false. Okay, in this case, a greater than b, right? 8 is greater than b, and the second condition b less than a. 7.5 is less than 8. Both the conditions are true, right? That's why we got true. If I make one condition false, it will return false. See, the first condition here is true, the second condition is false. Okay, and let's run this. See, we got false. So when we are using AND operator, remember that when both the conditions are true, then only it will return false. Sorry, it will return true. Otherwise, if any condition or any one condition or both the conditions are false, then it will return false only. Okay, ఒక్క కండిషన్ లేదా టూ కండిషన్స్ కూడా ఫాల్స్ అయితే it will return false. When both conditions are true, then only it will return true. Okay, that is AND operator. Okay, and let's use OR operator. Let us just copy this. Okay, let us use OR operator here. So the OR operator works differently. When any one condition is true, then it will return true. If both conditions are false, it will return false. ఓకే, ఈ రెండు కండిషన్స్ లో ఏ కండిషన్ ట్రూ అయినా, ఏ ఒక్క కండిషన్ ట్రూ అయినా it will return true. If both conditions are false, then only it will return false. It is quite opposite to AND operator, right? So let us run this. See, when we were using AND operator, we got false, but on the OR operator, we got true, because here one condition A greater than B, which is 8.8 is greater than 7.5 is true, but B greater than A is a condition that is false, but still we got true as an output because one condition is true here. Okay, one condition is false, but one condition is true. That's why when we are using OR operator, even if one condition is true, it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. Let us make both conditions false. Okay. In this case, both the conditions are false, right? A less than B is false. B greater than A is also a false condition. So both conditions are false, and we are using OR operator, right? So let us run this. So we got false. We got false. Let me rerun this. We got false because both conditions are false, right? Both the conditions are false. So when we are using OR operator, if any one condition is true, it will return true. If both conditions are false, then it will return false. Okay. So this is OR operator, and the last operator is NOT, right? NOT operator. So NOT is like, if it is true, it will return false. If it is false, it will return true. Okay. So let me show you an example. Let's say NOT A greater than B. Okay. So first let us try to print just A greater than B. We got true, right? If I added NOT before that, which is an operator, and let us run this. I want to save it. See, we got false. Okay. So this NOT operator will check this condition. If the condition is true, it will return false. If the condition is false, it will return true. Okay. Initially, the A greater than B is a condition that is true, but when we are using NOT operator, we got the false, right? We change the condition here. Let's say A less than B, which is a false condition, right? Because 8 is not less than 7.5, right? Let's run this. See, we got true. So NOT operator returns true if the condition is false. If the condition is true, then it will return false. Okay. These are the three logical operators: AND, OR, NOT. Okay. AND returns true when both conditions are true. Otherwise, it will return false. Okay. OR returns true when any one condition is true. If both conditions are false, then it will return false. Or sorry, NOT operator returns false if condition is true. If condition is uh, false, it will return true, opposite to what the condition says, right? So these are logical operators. I hope that was clear. Have any doubts? Of course, you can go ahead and ask me in the chat box. Membership operators. మీకు డౌట్స్ ఉంటే డోంట్ హెసిటేట్, ఆస్క్. ఓకే, విల్ ట్రై టు కవర్ దెమ్. చాట్ బాక్స్ లో మీరు అడగండి మీకు డౌట్స్ ఉంటే. మీరు డౌట్స్ అడగకపోతే నాకు తెలియదు. సో ఐ డోంట్ నో that you had a doubt and I was not able to clear them. Okay. And next is membership operator, right? Was it membership? Membership and identity, right? Membership, membership. Membership. In membership, we have in, not in, right? In and not in are the operators that we have in membership operators. In and not in. So how do we use them? How do we use them? We use in operator to check a particular value is present in a particular variable. Okay, particular value is available in a particular variable or not. Okay, let's say today is a variable that has a value of Monday. Right? Today is a variable that has a value of Monday. Okay, and I want to check if there is a character or a bunch of characters. Let's say I want to check whether day is present in this variable or not. Let's say print is a function, of course, we will use that. I want to check day keyword is present or not in this variable. Okay, for that, what I will do, day in today. Okay, you can directly give string here itself, but since I have already defined the variable here, I am going to use today, which is a variable. Vivek, we have already talked about comments, right? This is a comment, multi-line comment. Remember, here I have explained single line comment, variable, and multi-line comment. I am just commenting them out so that we don't see these outputs, right? మనకి అవుట్పుట్స్ వద్దనుకుంటున్నాం కాబట్టి మనం కామెంట్ చేస్తున్నాం వాటిని, రైట్? మనం కామెంట్ చేయకపోతే ఈ ప్రింట్ లో ఉన్నవన్నీ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతాయి కదా, ఇవన్నీ మనకు అవుట్పుట్స్ లో వస్తుంటాయి. వి డోంట్ వాంట్ దట్, రైట్? మనం ఏదైతే కరెంట్ టాపిక్ ఏదైతే మనం రన్ చేస్తున్నామో అందులో నుంచే మనకు అవుట్పుట్ కావాలనుకుంటున్నాం, రైట్? డబుల్ కోట్స్ లో కూడా మనం స్ట్రింగ్ ఇవ్వచ్చు. ఓకే, దర్ ఈస్ నో ఇష్యూ విత్ దాట్. విల్ టాక్ అబౌట్ స్ట్రింగ్ డాటా టైప్. స్ట్రింగ్ డాటా టైప్ మనకు వచ్చినప్పుడు విల్ టాక్ అబౌట్ హౌ మెనీ టైప్స్ వీ కెన్ యూజ్. ఓకే, ఎన్ని రకాలుగా మనం స్ట్రింగ్ డాటా టైప్ ని డిఫైన్ చేసుకోవచ్చో విల్ టాక్ అబౌట్. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ డాటా టైప్ లో అదే వస్తుంది మనకి. సో ఫర్ let us first go with it whether it is single quote or double quote, it is a string. Okay, there is no restriction, you can use single quotes or double quotes. Okay, so what we want to check whether this string, the day, is present or not in this variable called today that has a value of Monday, right? So let us run this. What is the output? The output is true, right? The output is true because day on a string, the characters are present in this Monday, right? Which is the variable that we are checking. Okay, that's why we got true. Okay, and again mali cheptuna nenu, I am opening the 3 single quotes and closing them, and all these things that are there in this quotes will be considered as a comment. Okay, ఇది కామెంట్ కాబట్టి ఈ లైన్స్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ కావు, మనకి ఎందులో నుంచి అవుట్పుట్ రాదు. ఓకే, యా. సో we can use membership operator in to check a particular value is present or not in a particular variable, right? Let's say if I say days, okay, not day, just days in today. What is the output? The output will be false. Why false? Because days అనే string మనకి Monday లో లేదు, right? We don't have days string in this today, right? That's why we got false. Of course, if I add s here, again we'll get true. Got true. Okay. Here you can give whatever you want. If that is there, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. Okay. You can give whole Monday here. You can just give Monday without capital letters. If you are not giving capital letter M, it will return false because in today variable we have Monday with capital M, right? We have capital M Monday, but we are checking small m Monday with small m. That's why it returned false. So basically it is a case sensitive. That's why the two are two different things, right? The two Mondays are two different because it has a capital M and it doesn't, right? This is in operator. Okay, this is in operator. And another one is not in, right? So let us comment this out. Print function again. So not in. Not in is quite opposite to in operator. Not in is opposite to in operator. Okay. If a value that we give here, let's say, let's remove this s here, only Monday, okay, and let's try to check for days, okay, and let's run this. What is the output? The output is true. Actually it is false, right? Because there is no days in this string, but we still got true because we are using not in operator. So read it like English. Days not in today. That is true, right? Because days అనే string మనకి today లో లేదు, right? That's why it returned true. Remember this. Not in is opposite to in operator. If this value that you give here is not present in this particular variable, then it will return true. If this value is present in this variable, then it will return false. Okay. You says day. See, day is present in this Monday. Okay. The output is false. The output is false. Like I said, it is opposite. Not in operator is opposite to in operator. Okay. If the value is present in this variable, then it will return false. If it is not present, then it will return true. Okay. That is membership operator. Have any doubts? Please go ahead, use the chat box, and let's చూడండి multi-line comment యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం మళ్ళీ నేను. Right. Next, and the last important operator is identity operator. Identity operators. Let's identity operators. What are they? Is not, right? Is and is not. So how do we use identity operators? How do we use identity operators? Okay. So the is operator returns true if both variables are sharing same location. Okay, same memory location. Both variables are sharing same location, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. Okay. So let me show you an example here. Let's say x equal to 7. Okay. Y equal to x. Okay. And use the print function. X is y. Right. X is y. Is an operator. Okay. Is a identity operator. It's true. Why? Why? Because first we defined x variable and we assigned 7 value. In the second line, what we are doing, we are assigning the whatever value that is present in this x. So both x and y are sharing same memory location, right? Because 7 is defined only one time. Okay, మనం ఎప్పుడైతే x డిఫైన్ చేసామో అప్పుడు మాత్రమే 7 అనేది మెమరీ లొకేషన్ లో వన్ టైం ఓన్లీ it was defined, and both x and y are sharing same memory location. Okay, so how do you know that? How do you know whether both x and y are sharing same location? Remember that I showed you id function. Id was a function, right? We can use that to check. We can use that to check. Let's run. As you can see here, both these numbers are same, right? Both these numbers are same, right? So that means both of them are sharing the same memory location, right? That's why when we used is operator on them, it returned true. Okay, it returned true. When we talk about list data type, I will show you another example on the is operator. Okay, when we talk about list data type, I'll show you is operator there again, which will make you even more uh, understand how it works. Okay, so is operator returns true when both variables share same memory location. Okay, not just value, same memory location. Okay, and is not operator. You might have understood it by now that is not returns opposite to what is does, right? If is returns true, is not returns false, right? See, false. If you read it like English, like here it says x is not y, is false, right? Because x is y, right? X is equal to y. That's why when we say x is not y, it is false, right? That's why it returned false here. Let me rerun this again. Post this. False, right? Return false. So is and is not. Is operator returns when values, both variables share same memory location. Okay, not just values. Remember this, same memory location. And is not is quite opposite to what is does. If is returns false, is not returns true. If is returns true, is not returns false. Okay, so let's close this. I hope it was clear for you guys. And these are the important operators that we need to know in order to work with the basic programming. And next, we'll talk about data types, right? Data types. So what is a data type? Every data, every information has a type, right? It can be string, it can be numbers, right? So based on the data type only, we can perform particular operations, right? Because on strings, you can't perform arithmetic operators, right? You can't perform arithmetic operators on a string data type, right? If you know what kind of data you have, based on that, you can do the operations, right? So, data types are classification or categorization of data items. It represents the kind of value that tells what operations can be performed on a particular data, right? Since everything is an object in Python programming, remember this line, everything is an object in Python programming. Data types are actually classes and variables are instance objects of these classes. Okay, remember this. Data types are classes and variables or instances are objects of these classes. Okay, so when we create a variable that is basically an object of a particular class. Of course, we'll talk about classes and objects in OOPS concepts. But if you are coming from any programming language background, you might have know what is class and what is an object, right? So these are the built-in data types, right? Text is a string data type. In numeric, we have integer, float, and complex. Sequence types, we have list, tuple, range, and string is also comes under sequence type. Okay, string is also comes under sequence type. In mapping, we have dictionary. In set, we have set and frozen set, and the boolean have bool type. So everything is unique, and every data type has its purposes to use them. Okay, based on our requirement only, we'll use them, and you need to know where, when, and where to use them and how to use them. Okay, so let us start by using string data type. Okay, string. Call it data types. In data types, we are starting with string data type, right? So we have from the beginning we have seen string, right? This is a string, right? That is a string. Monday is a string, right? Monday is a string. So how do we define a string? Say let's use the same variable here. Today, Monday, right? So this is a string data type. In quotes, whatever we put will be considered as a string, right? Of course, we will assign it to a variable. So if you are using quotes, it will be a string, right? In quotes, whatever you put, it will be a string. Here, you can use single quote or double quote. Like I said, you can use single quote or double quote. So Uday says he is not able to hear my voice. Please, anyone, can you confirm that you can hear me? Yes, thank you, Gohit. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate your response. So this is a string, right? This is a string. And who are having audio issues, I request you to please check your internet connection. మీ ఇంటర్నెట్ స్లో ఉంటే అది బఫర్ వల్ల మీకు ఆడియో రావట్లేదేమో, ప్లీజ్ చెక్ దట్. ఓకే, సో మండే ఈజ్ ఎ స్ట్రింగ్ దట్ వి నో, రైట్? డేటా టైప్ చెక్ చేసుకోవడానికి we have a function. We have a function. We have a function, right? The function is type. The function is called type function. Okay, the type function takes an argument. The argument is the, ఇక్కడ మనం డైరెక్ట్ గా వాల్యూ ఇవ్వచ్చు లేదా వేరియబుల్ ఇవ్వచ్చు. ఇన్ దిస్ కేస్ మనం ఏంది, ఆల్రెడీ వేరియబుల్ ని డిఫైన్ చేసాం కాబట్టి వాట్ విల్ డూ, విల్ డైరెక్ట్లీ గివ్ ది value, that is our variable. Of course we need to use print function, right? We need to use a print function to see data type, to see the output. Sorry, we use print function to see the output. See, the class is str, right? The class is str, meaning it is a string data type, right? So this is a variable. Like I said, variables are nothing but objects of a classes. In this case, it is a object of a string class. Ante kadandi, it is a object of a string class, right? Now we know that it is a object of string class, so it is a string data type, and we can use single quotes or double quotes to define a string data type. Okay, single quotes or double quotes. These are standard. Okay, these are standard where you will use single quotes or double quotes. There is another two ways to define a string data type. One is three single quotes. Remember the comments? Remember the comments? That format we can use here. Okay, three single quotes. Okay, open and close. It is also a string data type. It is also a string data type. Okay, three single quotes, three double quotes, open and close. Remember, whatever you open, you should close the same. If you open with a single quote, you should close the single quote only. If you open double quote, you should close the double quote only. Okay, otherwise you will get an error. Okay, so this is also a valid. This is also a valid string. How we can check that? By printing it, right? Let's print it. Sorry. See, we got Monday as an output, right? There is no error. So not just single quote or double quote, you can use three single quotes and three double quotes as well to define a variable, but you rarely ever use it. మీరు చాలా రేర్ గా యూజ్ చేస్తారు, అది మాక్సిమం యూజ్ చేయకపోవచ్చు, రైట్? సో స్టాండర్డ్ ఈస్ దట్ వి యూజ్ double quotes or single quotes, right? Double quotes or single quotes. The issue is when you should use single quotes or when you should use double quotes, right? Let's say I want to have a string that says let's say today is holiday. I want to store this. Now as you can see, there is an error that we can already see that, right? Because the rest of the string is not in green color, right? If we run this, see, invalid syntax. Why? Because since we are using single quotes and I wanted to use a single quote inside my string, I got this error, right? I got this error because I had a single quote inside my string. In this case, what you can do, either you can use double quote to avoid this kind of error, right? You can use double quotes. See, double quote open and close, right? In this way, we can use single quote inside our string without having any error, right? See, we got the output without any error. Today's holiday, right? Or you only want to use single quote, not double quote. మీకు డబుల్ కోట్ నచ్చదు, మీకు ఇష్టం లేదు, మీ సింగిల్ కోట్ మాత్రమే యూజ్ చేయాలనుకుంటున్నారు. ఇన్ దట్ కేస్ హౌ టు హ్యాండిల్ దిస్ ఎర్రర్? ఫర్ దాట్ వీ కెన్ యూజ్ సంథింగ్ కాల్డ్ ఎస్కేప్ క్యారెక్టర్. ఓకే, సారీ, ఎస్కేప్ క్యారెక్టర్. ఓకే, ఈ బ్యాక్వర్డ్ స్లాష్ ఉంది కదండి, దిస్ బ్యాక్వర్డ్ స్లాష్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ ఎస్కేప్ క్యారెక్టర్. ఓకే, and when you're using single quote for your string and you want to use a single quote again in your string, you should use backward slash before the quote. Yeah, sorry for that disturbance. So you should use this escape character or backward slash before the quote. Okay, before the quote. Let us run this again. Today's holiday, right? We got the output without any error, right? If we don't use this code, sorry, escape character, we'll get an error that we can know that, right? Because the string has a black color. So to avoid that error, we can use escape character, okay, called backward slash, and we should always put it before the quote. Quote ki mundu manam దీన్ని ప్లేస్ చేయాలి. Okay, so this backward slash or escape character tells the Python interpreter to that this single quote has no special meaning, just print as it is, right? ఎందుకంటే మనకి ఈ సింగిల్ కోట్ కి స్పెషల్ మీనింగ్ ఉంది, రైట్? బిట్వీన్ దీస్ కోట్స్ వాట్ ఎవర్ యూ పుట్ విల్ బి కన్సిడర్డ్ యాజ్ ఎ స్ట్రింగ్, రైట్? దట్స్ వై దీస్ కోట్స్ హ్యావ్ ఎ స్పెషల్ మీనింగ్, రైట్? ఇక్కడ దీనికి స్పెషల్ మీనింగ్ ఉంటే ఇక్కడ వరకు మాత్రమే అది స్ట్రింగ్ అవుతుంది. రెస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ది స్ట్రింగ్ విల్ బి an error, right? It won't understand what the rest of the thing. That's why this escape character tells the interpreter that this single quote has no special meaning. It is just a string. Just print as it is. Just store it as it is, right? And this backward slash you will not see in the output. Okay, మనం output లో మనకి ఆ backward slash అనేది రాదు. Remember that. Okay. See, today is holiday without any error. Okay, the backward slash ఇవన్నీ ఎందుకు నాకు, I don't want to have these all headaches అని మీరు అనుకున్నప్పుడు what you can do, you can use double quotes. You can use double quotes, right? If you use double quotes, you don't need to use escape character here, right? Again, if you have something in double quotes in this string where you have double quotes for opening and closing, okay, see, now the string is in black color, అంటే మనకి మళ్ళీ ఇక్కడ ఎర్రర్ వస్తుంది, right? Again, if you want to handle this, you need to use escape character, right? You need to use escape character. Let's run this. Of course, here also, right? See, we got the output. The two escape characters, right? I had to use two escape characters. కాన్సెప్ట్ అర్థమైంది కదండి మీకు? We can use single quote or double quote to define a string data type, or we can use three single quotes or three double quotes as well. Okay, we rarely ever use three double quotes and three single quotes to define a string. We mainly use a single quote or double quotes. Okay, and whatever we open we should close it, whether it is single quote or double quote. And there is something called escape character that we can use in case we are using the same quote inside our string, right? These are the main important things when we define a string data type. Are we clear this far? Or if you have any doubt, please let me know. హౌ టు డౌన్లోడ్ పైథాన్ అని ఒకరు అడుగుతున్నారు. సెషన్ బిగినింగ్ లోనే నేను చూపించాను, రైట్? సెషన్ బిగినింగ్ లోనే చూపించాను. python.org వెబ్సైట్ లోకి వెళ్ళండి. ఇక్కడ మీకు డౌన్లోడ్స్ లోకి వెళ్ళి విండోస్ లోకి వెళ్ళండి. విండోస్ వాళ్ళు ఇక్కడ మీకు లేటెస్ట్ వర్షన్ చూపిస్తుంది. లేటెస్ట్ వర్షన్ మనకి 3.9.6 ఉంటుంది, రైట్? ఇందులోకి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత మీరు కిందికి వెళ్ళండి. ఇక్కడ చూడండి, విండోస్ ఇన్స్టాలర్ 32-bit, రైట్? ఈ విండోస్ అనేది 7 కి కూడా 10 కి కూడా 8 కి కూడా, ఓకే, అన్నిటికీ వర్క్ అవుతుంది. దేర్ ఇస్ నో ఇష్యూ విత్ దట్. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ 32-bit డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ 64-bit డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. దిస్ 32-bit Windows installer will work on Windows 7 32-bit only. ఓకే, వితౌట్ ఎనీ ఎర్రర్. మీరు డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకొని ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసుకోండి. ఓకే, so string we define in multiple ways, and escape character is also very important that you should know, right? So that is clear until now, right? So it's already 1 o'clock. So let's call it a day, and let's continue from tomorrow is holiday, right? So we'll stay on 11 o'clock. Please, అందరూ రండి. 5 days రండి, ఇంకా 4 days అఫ్ కోర్స్, ఒక డే అయిపోయింది కాబట్టి. అండ్ వెనస్డే ఖచ్చితంగా రండి. ఆ రోజు మీకు లింక్ షేర్ చేస్తాను నేను. ఆ లింక్లో మీకు డీటెయిల్స్ ఫిల్ చేయాలి. డీటెయిల్స్ ఫిల్ చేసిన తర్వాత మీ అందరికీ ఒక మెయిల్ వస్తుంది సిస్కో నెట్వర్కింగ్ అకాడమీ నుంచి, మీ అకౌంట్ యాక్టివేట్ చేసుకోమని చెప్పి. ఓకే, అకౌంట్ యాక్టివేట్ చేసుకున్నాక యూ కెన్ యాక్సెస్ ది కంటెంట్ ఫ్రమ్ సిస్కో నెట్వర్కింగ్ అకాడమీ వెబ్సైట్. దట్ we will discuss on వెనస్డే మీరు సబ్మిట్ చేస్తారు మీ రెస్పాన్స్ కాబట్టి. విల్ టాక్ అబౌట్ ఆన్ థర్స్డే, రైట్? థర్స్డే రోజు మీకు మొత్తం క్లియర్గా వెబ్సైట్ ఎలా ఉంటుంది, ఎలా మీరు కంప్లీట్ చేసుకోవాలి, విల్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ దట్, రైట్? సో let us call it a day and let's meet on Wednesday, right? If you have any doubts, of course you can ask me. And